What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua states that Andy Ruiz is the smiling assassin. He smiles, he humbles himself, but he is an assassin. And that's pretty much the best way that anyone ever described Andy Ruiz. He also was asked about Ruiz's smack talk. He addresses that, with the robot emojis and stiff and can't really be a good fighter. And he says, well, hey, Joshua states that, hey, he did what he had to do. He went out there. If he's a killer, that's how he has to be. If he's a wolf in sheep clothing, that's how I'm gonna have to approach that particular fight. I'm gonna go out there for a killer. And me counterpunching what Joshua was saying between the lines is that he's not going to take Andy lightly like he did before. He's not falling for the shit. He's not falling for the nice guy, I'm Andy Ruiz demeanor, right? The smiling assassin. If you look at Andy Ruiz, he will disarm you with his face alone. He has a baby face, no neck, looks like he been eating Snickers and shit, you know what I mean? And works as a plumber for the local business or something like that. He doesn't look like a fighter at all. So if you look at him, you will be deceived, but he is very deceiving. But make no mistake about it, he is a killer. He is a smiling assassin. He knows how to throw punches. He knows how to execute punches. He knows how to fucking fight. He's been doing it damn near all of his life. And he is a wolf in sheep clothing. You think that guy, he's mild-mannered, rather dry. But at the end of the day, as soon as he won, he was talking shit. You know what I mean? He was really capping off shit, saying that, hey, he's a robot, emojis, he's stiff. You know what I mean? Those things didn't reflect how he was when he first had the fight. His whole demeanor changed, right? He didn't act like a straight ass, but he did enough to let you know that I'm not that guy that I pretended to be. You see what I'm saying? So I think that Anthony Joshua now will approach that, And it's funny, though, I think Joshua is talking too much. I think he was talking about angling punches and shots. And they asked him about a clean right hand that he landed, and he was like, oh, well, I got to do it like this. And he actually showed how he would punch Andy, of how Andy was, I'm like, those type of things, and Rob McCracken's like, yes, you know what I mean? He's just, like, he don't even really want to be there. Eddie Hearn ain't saying shit. And that's funny about Eddie Hearn. He will be quiet when Joshua's talking. If you notice, it just lets you know that. And when Anthony Joshua was doing an interview, if you notice, Eddie Hearn is not really saying shit. They're interviewing Anthony Joshua. They're not interviewing Rob McCracken or Eddie Hearn, even though they're present beside him. They're not speaking into his ear or talking this other shit. So I don't know where people get that perception of that he needs people to talk for him. They weren't saying shit. Rob McCracken hardly ever says anything, right? And Eddie Hearn just really sits there and allows his fighter to talk. If we compare that to Shelly Finkel, he cuts in, let me speak. You really haven't heard too much about Shelly Finkel lately. But even when they were talking about business, he wanted to step in. And, when they asked Deontay Wilder a question, he wanted to step in and, speak for him. I noticed these two guys didn't do that. So that tells you that when Joshua speaks, those people listen because they know his voice holds power. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. I think a lot of things that Joshua's saying, he shouldn't be discussing like that. And I'm actually going to do another video on top of a live chat. We'll talk a little bit about those type things that he shouldn't do, explained by Ruiz. But anyway, I think Joshua, said it right. He is a smiling assassin, a wolf in sheep clothing, and he should prepare himself for that. That's my counterpunch on that, guys. You tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.